Hey, what's up, guys? J-Wink is back after a very, very long hiatus. Sorry about that, guys. It's just I've been really busy lately, well, for the past few months, and I've only been able to get out certain videos at a time. But now since I'm done with some certain things and I'll have more time on my hands, I'm going to be putting out more videos and stuff going on today, like that are happening recently, and then I'll go back later in the summer, go back to the stuff that I had missed so then I can rewatch it and, study it a little bit better. But today we are talking about the 20th episode in Star Wars Rebels Season 3, Twin Suns. Now, this has been an episode that has been really hyped and that I was hoping was going to be the season finale. I was hoping that this episode would have been epic showdown between Maul and Obi-Wan Kenobi that we've been teased with ever since the second episode of when they saw both Ezra and Maul saw the holocrons, and it was just like, ooh, are they mentioning Obi-Wan? Are they mentioning something else? But who else could it be, really? But the episode has finally came, and was it a disappointment? Not a chance. This episode is probably one of the best episodes of Star Wars Rebels there ever has been, and they will probably ever make. It was so well made and very the story was very good. There were a few things that I wish did not happen, but I guess I can deal with it. But there was a lot of good things about the episode, such as one of those things is showing that Tatooine is a harsh place. It is it's not a place for a lot of people to be, and it would not be expected for a high Jedi Master to be at, especially when Maul starts traveling and all he just sees is the sandy desert, and he's just like, he is going kind of bonkers. He's talking to himself. He's just like, we just gotta stick through this and keep going and just, I gotta find him and kill him, essentially. And it was pretty interesting to see his kind of digression and just him like, okay, so I have to create this plan, so I need to get Ezra here, and then he'll bring Obi-Wan out, and then boom, bing bada boom, and I'll be ready to go. But yeah, definitely very cool on how they kind of set it up. The one thing I wish that was not in there, if I could have taken one thing out of the entire episode, it was that Ezra was in the storyline. I wish it could have just been a complete, like, a Maul thing. Like, Maul is going out there, he's trying to find Obi-Wan. He could have ran into the Sand People. He could have went to he could have went to Mos Eisley or something else, and then he could have been like, where do I find this Obi-Wan Kenobi? And then we could have explored a little bit more into like how in the comics how Obi-Wan is kind of making things harder for certain characters such as Jabba the Hutt, and in Mos Eisley, because he had the whole thing with the water when that Jabba's group of gangsters were trying to collect on their water, and Obi-Wan was like, no, that's got to stop, and he put an end to them all, and it was pretty cool. And I wish I could have, like, that would have been, I think that could have been a little bit better, but I see why Ezra was in the story, because they needed to have that character from the original six, well, from the core six, in the show, in this episode, to kind of be like, yeah, then we can follow this character. But I think Ezra being in the episode was very good. I think, like, how it was, regardless of what my thoughts were, I thought Obi-Wan and his relationship were very good. It was kind of like the beginning of what him and Luke were, just a little bit. It was a tidbit of that. He was just like, kind of wise, and he was really showing him, and just talking to him for a little bit. Even though Obi-Wan wasn't in there for a whole lot, and Maul wasn't in there either, it was kind of mainly Ezra's story, having to find Obi-Wan, and then because of he's fixing the mistake, because he is the reason why Maul is after Obi-Wan, because he helped get the holocron, and that led him to, Obi-Wan. And so I think they did a very good job with that. And also, I think the showdown was pretty epic and even though some people are probably going to be like, oh, it wasn't long enough. It was like maybe 30 seconds, not even that long. But I didn't think it really needed to be this huge fight. Don't get me wrong, it would have been awesome to see Obi-Wan and Darth Maul have this epic showdown, because it's just really cool to see them. It would have actually been really cool to see them actually get at it. But I think that since we are moving closer to the time of A New Hope, if Obi-Wan would have been like doing flips and everything, and like kind of how Yoda was back in when he was still older and fighting back in like the prequel era and the Clone Wars, I think that would have been very bad, because that would completely, I think, wreck kind of everything that happened in A New Hope when he fought Vader, because I feel like he is getting older, and he's got to kind of adopt a different way of fighting. He can't be so like action, action, action. He's got to kind of be like, okay, I got to think this out. I got to just, take my time and just, do what I got to do. And I think they did that very well, and I'm happy that it kind of wasn't a big over spectacle fight, and I was very pleased when Maul died and how the episode ended. I do have one problem. Well, not a problem, but a nitpick, and that is when he's like, "You're guarding the Chosen One," and Obi-Wan's like, "Yes." And now, my thing is, Anakin is the Chosen One, from what I've heard from George Lucas and what's been said in the entire saga and the Clone Wars and blah blah blah. Now, the reason why I think he says yes, and I've heard some people bring this up, like I've been looking on some reviews and stuff, they're like, yeah, this is a problem, Anakin is the Chosen One, not Luke. My thing is, I believe what he thinks is, Anakin is gone. He believes that there is no way that he can come back. He killed Padme. He wiped out the entire Jedi Order, pretty much. And I think he probably thinks, there is no hope for him. This is A New Hope. This is Luke, and he is the one who is chosen, who's got to, bring him, do what he's got to do. And I think he really lost hope, and you really understand that, because in the original trilogy, he's like, no, your father is more machine than man. He's not the same man that I knew back in Prime. But also, kudos to the guy who's actually voicing older Ben Kenobi. He did a fantastic job. He really does sound like Alec Guinness, and I think even when I was watching the episode, it looks like a mix, like the face. It looks like a mix of Ian McGregor and Alec Guinness. And props to the animators for doing that, because it really does look. They do have very similar faces, and it's very cool to see that. But yeah, I guess that's an end to a big thing that's been carried on since episode 1. In Maul's arc, I think Maul's story is finally over. I know there's still his comic is still going on, and yes, I'm pretty sure they're not going to. They might stop with the character. They might not bring him up anymore, and I think that'd be fine. I think after his 5-issue run, I think they can just put that to bed, and Maul can just be one of those legacy characters that we don't really need to come back to. He can be mentioned, of course, maybe like a flashback or something, but he doesn't need to be like really back in the forefront anymore, because I think he's done his purpose, and I think his and Obi-Wan's story together was very well done. And especially if you watch episode 1 and then you watch the Clone Wars episodes with those two, and then you watch Rebels, I think it's definitely a satisfying ending for Maul and Obi-Wan. And yeah, just an awesome episode overall. My one thing is I'm worried, I'm questioning, why hasn't Ezra brought it up, like, to the rest of the crew? Yeah, Obi-Wan's alive, blah blah blah, because he never does mention Obi-Wan when he gets there. He's just like, yeah, Maul is gone. Maul, we don't have to worry about Maul anymore. So I'm wondering, but maybe he knows, he understands, like, there's a reason why he doesn't want to be back there, and maybe he understands, like, this guy, he doesn't want to come back, and he can't, because, maybe he doesn't want to be in the fight anymore, and we have to pick it up for ourselves. But I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why it's left up for interpretation. Hopefully they explain that maybe later. Supposedly there's a lot of deleted scenes for this episode, and hopefully on Star Wars Rebels Season 3, the DVD and Blu-ray that comes out, hopefully they show them on there, because I would definitely love to see more content from this episode. But yeah, next week is the season finale for Star Wars Rebels Season 3, and we have one more season, maybe more, but we have one more season so far, and I think this show is turning out very good, and I'm really looking forward to next week's finale. So yeah, guys, that's about it. I'm going to give this episode 5 out of 5 wings. Definitely deserves a great, and there was a lot of music and there was so many good moments that this is probably one of the best episodes of the series so far. But yeah, guys, that's about it. I'm Jay Wink, and I'm winking out. See you guys later.